All right, so today we're doing a deep dive into something a little different.
Mhm.
We're looking at this book by Dr. Colin Doyle, the Christian engineer, as the Temple of God.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
It's taking engineering and faith and trying to connect the two.
Okay.
So uh, I guess I'm curious, right off the bat,
Sure.
what's the core idea here?
Well, it's this really intriguing analogy that Dr. Doyle uses, this idea of Christian engineers being temples of the Holy Spirit.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they're not just doing engineering work, they're bringing their faith into it?
So it's like their work is sacred in a way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's drawing from 1 Corinthians where it talks about our bodies being sacred vessels.
Right.
And he's applying that same concept to the work of an engineer.
So how does that change how we think about engineering decisions?
Well, it's not just about the technical stuff anymore.
Yeah.
It's about approaching your work with a sense of reverence, like you're doing it for a higher purpose.
That's a cool way to think about it.
Hmm.
Makes me think about, the story of Bezalel from Exodus.
Oh, yeah, Bezel.
God specifically chose him to build the tabernacle.
That's right. And it wasn't just about his skills.
Right.
God filled him with wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, too.
So it was more than just being able to, build things.
Yeah.
It's like God was giving him the blueprint for, good design.
It's almost like he was the first responsible innovator.
Yeah, way before we had a name for it.
Exactly.
But how do we take that idea, that inspiration, and apply it to, engineering today?
Well, that's what Dr. Doyle tries to do, right? He talks about AI, cybersecurity, all these fields that are changing the world.
Right, where the stakes are pretty high.
Absolutely. I mean, think about AI, right?
Yeah.
The potential is huge,
Yeah.
but so are the risks.
Definitely.
We need to design these systems carefully, think about the consequences.
So it's not just about, building the coolest tech.
No, it's about using it wisely.
So how does faith fit into all of this?
Well, Dr. Doyle suggests that it can be a guide, a kind of moral compass.
Okay, so not forcing religious beliefs onto the tech itself.
Right, more like using your faith to make ethical decisions.
To be responsible with your innovations.
Exactly.
That makes sense. He even talks about engineering as a form of worship, right?
He does. He brings up that verse from Colossians about
Perfect.
working as if you're working for the Lord.
Wow, so every line of code, every design choice, it's all an offering.
That's a powerful way to look at it, isn't it?
It is. It's like your work becomes more than just a job.
Yeah, it's about using your talents for something bigger than yourself.
So does Dr. Doyle give any practical tips for, living this out?
Oh, absolutely. He suggests things like starting your day with prayer,
Okay.
dedicating your work to God,
Makes sense.
really thinking through the ethical side of things,
Right.
and ultimately doing everything for God's glory.
Those are really simple, but they could change everything, couldn't they?
I think so. It's a shift in perspective.
Yeah.
What if we all saw our work, whatever it is, as a form of worship? How would that change the world?
Something to think about for sure. Thanks for taking us on this deep dive. It's been fascinating.
My pleasure.
And for all of you listening out there, we'd love to hear your thoughts on this too.
Yeah, how do you see your own work in light of what we've talked about today?
Leave us a comment, send us an email. Let's keep this conversation going.
Absolutely. Until next time.
Take care.